Hello everyone. In this video we are going to talk about line graphs. I'll show you a couple of different examples for this video, so let me show you this one over here first. Now a line graph is often useful for showing a trend. They are often used to track how one variable changes with respect to a second variable. And for instance, a line graph may illustrate a pattern or trend of a variable over time, and it can allow us to do things like make predictions. Where will this trend be after a certain period of time? Or where can we see this trend going 15 years from now, 20 years from now, things like that. This example of a line graph shows us cars registered in the United States in millions. That quantity is measured here on the vertical part of this graph. And then the horizontal graph shows the years. And typically for line graphs, you will have time as the variable on the horizontal part of your graph. And then the quantity in terms of the numerical value of what you're looking at in a line graph per se would be on the vertical part. And this is not from any labor statistic or study. This is just something I made up. So in 1990, we're just over 100 million cars. I have increments of 50 going up. And then I stop right around here. I didn't write 200, but this is just to show you the trend of this line graph in particular. So years on the horizontal part and then quantity on the vertical part. And if we go from left to right, this graph goes up the further in time that we go. So if we could make a prediction, one question we could be asked could say, predict the number of cars registered in the year 2030. Those answers will vary, but as long as we're in like a really close ballpark, you'll get a correct answer for that specific question. We'll work on questions with line graphs in a different video. This is just to show you what line graphs look like. So let's look at another one. These are pretty interesting. So the name of this bar graph shows you the percent of men and women over 65 in the labor force in the US. And this information was taken from the Bureau of the Census for the sake of this problem. So here we have two different lines showing two completely different trends. We got blue for men and red for women. And what's nice about this graph is that the numbers are indicated on each of those specific points on this graph, on the men's and on the women's as well. And much like the last one, my horizontal part here of the graph represents the specific year that we're talking about. And then the vertical part here represents the percent that we're dealing with. And we'll work out questions in a later video. Again, this is just to show you what line graphs look like and what to expect, the kinds of questions that we can be asked, whether we have one line or multiple lines like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you later.